In my remarks, I'd like to sort of partially answer the call to arms that was put forward by the previous two speakers and talk about an effort within the CEA organization that I think has hope of being part of the solution. There's a new standard being developed called CEA 2018. It's being co-chaired by Mitsubishi Electric, myself, and Alan Messer from Samsung. And the standard is designed to support what we call task-based user interfaces. It's under development and scheduled to be completed at the end of the summer. So what I want to do in my presentation is, first of all, tell you what is a task-based user interface and why do we need a standard to support it. So first of all, a task-based user interface fundamentally is about allowing customers to interact at the level of their intentions and desires rather than the level of the low-level operations of the device. So really a task-based interface is not about a particular appearance, a particular way of looking. It's about the conceptual level at which the customer needs to think. What this really leads to is the ability to have much more natural interaction on the part of the customer. So the user may interact with, for example, simple sentences, voice-guided operation. But again, I want to emphasize that the notion of task-based is about the level, not about the specific modality. So I'll give you two quick examples of hypothetical user-based interfaces to illustrate this. The first is sort of a single device example. Wouldn't it be nice if you could simply say to your cell phone or your PDA, record Survivor, and not get tied up in the details of how your box works. And if there's a question of which night survived, then maybe it'll come back and ask you a follow-up question. So there's an example of a task-based user interface. And what's important about it is not that it's speech. What's important about it is you just say what you want, and you don't have to get tied up in the details. The rest can be automatically handled for you by the technology inside the device. So obviously this is applicable to single devices. As Joko said in the introduction, when you have multiple network devices, things get even worse. So suppose you have, a DVD recorder and a VCR and other devices on your home network, and you want to get some help in doing some complicated thing with them. Here's another example of a hypothetical interface that doesn't use speech. It's sort of a menu-based interface. And what it is sort of an intelligent agent or a wizard that knows everything in all the user manuals for all your devices, which you can't find anyways, is going to step you through getting things done. So here's a quick interaction. It asks, what do you want to do? You have a little menu with some very high-level sort of things. Well, what I want to do is I want to copy a videotape to a DVD. And then it'll work you through the details of what you should do. So first I do this, and then you ask, well, what do I do next? And so on, and so forth. And you can imagine this being applied across all kinds of devices, and really, the way to think of it is having the manual be there at runtime, not as a searchable text document, but as something that could actually guide you in real time. Finally, so why do we need a standard? Let me say a word about what the standard is. CEA 2018 is a standard XML interchange language for task models. I can't tell you much about task models here, but suffice it to say that task models are the underlying knowledge for building task-based user interfaces. It's a machine-readable form of the user manual at a very abstract level. And the motivation for that is really you need it for single devices that could make that better, but for cross-device tasks in particular. Many of the things you want to do involve many devices in the home, and you don't want to get tied up with the details. At your conceptual level, you just want to put the house into vacation mode, and you want the details to be handled for all the different devices. And we need a standard because we need to have interoperability at the task level. We already have interoperability at the DLNA, the UPnP level, but we need, in order to achieve the kinds of high-level, do-what-I-say sort of interfaces at the task level also. And we think this will enable, as all good standards do, a marketplace of interfaces either by the manufacturers or by third parties that do this. Finally, I just want to say what we're not doing. This goes back to a number of comments about what you can and cannot do in the industry. What we are not doing is standardizing the appearance of the user interface. Maybe customers would like that, actually, just a footnote. But it's a non-starter in the industry because manufacturers need to preserve their brand identity and so on through the graphics and logos and style. So what we're trying to do here is allow interoperability at a conceptual level while leaving the individual manufacturer, let the marketplace determine how the interfaces are actually built and how they appear.